there, quirky people! I'm your host, Anna, and today we'll be looking at the latest Spider-Verse villain, that is the Spot. He has always been a C-list villain who was often treated as a joke in all the Spider-Man stories of the comics. The writers Phil Lord, Christopher Miller, and David Callahan have used him and his powers very creatively in Across the Spider-Verse. He didn't seem like a very threatening villain at first, as he started out being a joke to everyone. But now, he has become the greatest threat to the entire multiverse as he carries the power to cause anomalies in multiple universes and destroy their canons. But how did he get so strong? What are his origins in the comics? These are the kinds of questions that we will answer in this video. Now let's begin with the Spot's origins in the comics. The Spot, also known as Dr. Jonathan Onn, first appeared in the Spectacular Spider-Man issue number 97, and then he became the supervillain in issue number 98. He was created by writer Peter David and artist Rick Leonardi. He was a scientist specializing in interdimensional travel and worked for Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin. Fisk ordered him to replicate the powers of the Marvel hero called Cloak, who popularly works with another hero called Dagger. Cloak has the ability to create portals out of his own being, and this was the ability that Kingpin wanted for himself. So, once upon a time, Dr. Jonathan Onn conducted an experiment that went sideways. Working late in his lab, he thought that he had figured out how to create Cloak's powers. But after his experiment, he wound up in a different dimension, which was one half dark and one half light. This dimension was filled with various small black portals that led to other realities. So, he presumed that the only way to return to his Earth dimension was going through one of those portals. He did that, but by that time, a lot of these portals had gotten attached to his body. As a result, he himself gained the ability to create black holes or spots that allow him to teleport through space. These spots can also serve as portals to other dimensions across the multiverse. So, the Spot used his newfound powers for criminal activities and became a recurring adversary of Spider-Man. His trademark is his costume, which is covered in black spots that represent the portals he can create. Even though he was primarily a Spider-Man villain, he also appeared in various other Marvel comic stories. He crossed paths with other superheroes like Daredevil and the Punisher as well. But here in Sony's Spider-Man universe, he has become the arch nemesis of Miles Morales. Now let's discuss the Spot's origin in SSU. Those who have seen the film must have figured that the origin in the film has a few similar elements. For instance, Kingpin was directly involved in it as it happened during the climax of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Dr. Jonathan Owen was originally responsible for turning Miles Morales into Spider-Man. Like the comics, he was also experimenting with interdimensional travel in the SSU. As a result of his experiments, he brought a radioactive spider from Earth 42 to Earth 1610. That spider eventually bit Miles and he became Spider-Man. But later, Spider-Man's battle against Kingpin led to the explosion of the Super Collider. Unfortunately for Owen, he was in the vicinity of that battle and got caught in the explosion. As a result, his skin turned white and those interdimensional spots appeared on his body. He became a walking, talking interdimensional portal that was the key to unlocking multiversal travel. This is how he became an arch-nemesis of Miles, because he was responsible for turning Miles into Spidey, and Miles was responsible for turning him into the Spot. But as it turned out, the spots on his body were only limited. He needed more energy produced from super colliders to gain more spots. So, he began to find more dimensions with super colliders and went through many of them one by one. After going through the super collider on Spider-Man India's Earth 5101, he grew very strong. Ultimately, almost his entire body turned into a black interdimensional portal, as there were only a few spots of his skin left. Now in Beyond the Spider-Verse, he plans to show Miles of Earth 1610 that he is no joke. And with his powers, he has become the biggest threat to the entire multiverse. Speaking of that, let's also look at the powers and abilities of the Spot. His abilities make him a formidable opponent. He often employs his abilities to create traps and even evade captures. They come in very handy for both defense and offense. In fact, he is next to unbeatable in his current state. His first and major ability is dimensional spot creation. The Spot has the power to create spots, or black holes in space. As I've already mentioned, these spots function as portals to other dimensions, allowing him to teleport himself and objects through them. He can create these spots on any surface, including walls, floors, or even in midair. Next up, the spots allow him teleportation across the multiverse. Using his spots, he can instantly travel from one spot to another, effectively teleporting himself over short or long distances. Doctor Strange can only create portals across a universe, and they take a bit of time. But the Spot can move rapidly, making it very difficult for his opponents to track or anticipate his movements. Next up, he also possesses spot duplication. He can generate multiple spots simultaneously, creating duplicates of himself. These duplicates can be used strategically in combat, confusing and overwhelming his enemies. So, with his ability, he can practically fight multiple opponents at once. And that's why I believe that a lot of spider people from the Spider Society will have a tough time against him in Beyond the Spider-Verse. Up next, he has got spatial awareness. His enhanced spatial awareness allows him to accurately judge the location and distance between spots. This skill enables him to navigate through his spots swiftly and with precision, making his attacks unpredictable for his opponents. So, his matchup against Spider-Man is perfect for a theatrical event, because Spider-Man could defend his attacks with his spider sense. But lastly, he also possesses a great martial arts proficiency. Even though this isn't a superhuman ability that he acquired, he trained in hand-to-hand combat and martial arts using his spots and teleportation strategically. It made him a capable fighter in close combat and long-range battles as well. He may have been a tough villain to pull off in live action, but animation allows the creatives to use his powers in very unique and visually pleasing ways. Okay, that's all from the Spot's origins and powers. Click on those like and subscribe buttons if you enjoyed this video. Goodbye, and I'll see you in the next one.